There you go. What do you think? Hey, you're gonna get mud on the seats.
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. One, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four, five.
What's up, everybody? I am not Urban Armed. Urban Arm's younger and much better looking brother. Wanted to talk about my truck. I don't put this thing on video very much because it's not a whole lot to show, but over time I'm hoping to improve it and turn it into a hardcore camping, maybe slash overlanding rig. So what do we got? It's 85 Toyota 4Runner, pretty stock except for the suspension lift. We got 33-inch BFGs on a 7-inch lift. The only real modification I've done so far to it is to put the Marlin Crawler high steer kit on there, and of course got the beauty mark here. I was messing around, decided to just paint one of these body panels and see what it looked like. I didn't do a very good job. It was more of a see how it goes kind of thing. This truck is not my priority in life, and so it doesn't get the attention that it probably deserves, but I'm hoping to hang on to this thing for a long time. I've had it for about 4 years now, and I've taken it four-wheeling a few times, beat it up a little bit, beat it up a lot actually in a couple of those instances. It's got that 22 RE engine in it, so it's not very powerful, but it gets me around when I want it to. So we'll take a little tour and I'll show you around. So of course the primary feature of this particular year was the last year of the solid front axle, which is quite a bit tougher and stronger than the IFS, a lot simpler, a lot less likely to break on the trail, although it's not without its problems. I don't have any gearing in the front differential. I'd like to put a locker in there, but we'll see. So the high steer is the only real 4x4 modification that I've done on this truck. Moves the steering arms from below and in front of the axle to above the leaf springs, and it's quite a bit beefier and it's a more direct line. This is a steering arm from the newer 4Runners, so in order for this to work you've got to cut part of the frame off and then weld this plate on here and then put this newer steering arm on here. Prior to that there was a more complicated, less strong, weaker system in place, and it actually broke, and that's why I replaced it. Some things I'd like to do: put some armor on the diff, flip those U-bolts around. I definitely need new leaf springs. These things are shot. They'll get me around, but they are not in good shape at all. Starting to slip too, actually. That's a bad thing. So this whole setup here was not cheap, but it's pretty tough, and I've beaten on it pretty hard, and it's stayed up just fine, no problem. Just to give you an idea of the overall condition of this truck, front grill's broken, got some rust here on the factory bumper, obviously over here. Some aftermarket lights were put on, they don't currently work. I've been meaning to take them off and just strip the wires out for now, but obviously I want to clean all this up, get it painted, and then mount bumper system on here. But that's I've got more ideas than money, so I have to do one step at a time there. But this kind of gives you an overall idea. You know, this truck is 33 years old. It's been around the block, but still runs. So under the hood, I haven't done much to this thing. I did put in a new radiator, new alternator, and new belts about a year and a half ago, and I haven't really driven it much, so they're basically brand new. We got some oil seepage in the regular spots around the valve cover gaskets and different bolts coming off the top of the engine block there, but this thing doesn't leak oil, which is really nice for a truck this age. I do have a coolant leak right now, and I'm not sure where exactly it's coming from, but I'll figure it out. I'll find it. It's no big deal. New battery, and that's a salvaged master cylinder on the steering right there. Long story. I was trying to change the brake caliper and ended up screwing up quite a bit of things in the brake system. So I put a salvaged power steering master cylinder on there. Works fine now. Might have a little bit of a leak. I'm not sure. I don't see any leaks on the floor, but I do sometimes get a little noise out of there. So anyway, what I'd like to do is do a rebuild at some point. Just take this thing apart, clean it up. Will I get to it? I don't know. I'd like to paint this red too. We'll see. As far as the body goes, overall, it's in okay shape, but there's definitely some rust in the usual spots over the fenders. In the quarter panel there, got some rust up on top, up here where the topper sits. So I'd like to strip the whole thing down and just repaint it and fill up the holes. This thing has a couple of holes in the bed. Nothing, no big deals, but definitely stuff that needs to be taken care of. I'd like to also rewire the whole thing. You see here we got some problems here. We got some wires hanging down. Definitely needs to be cleaned up there. I really like the decal on this one. I haven't been able to find it on any other trucks, so I may have to have the decal reprinted after I strip this thing down and paint it. I did prime some of the trouble spots, but I did that quite a while ago, and now some of that rust is already starting to come back. We live in Colorado. It's not a huge deal out here, but it does have its problems. As far as the interior goes, a lot of this is stuck. The guy before me had this, put this gear shifter on there, which is kind of cool. I mean, I like the way it feels, but also he's got a throttle control here with this little bike gear shifter, so I can run the throttle even when I'm not sitting in it, which is kind of cool. There's a bunch of switches in here, aftermarket switches, I'm assuming for lamps and lighting and things like that, so I'd like to utilize those at some point. So this is my custom center console. Put this together with my son, and it's just an ammo box. Nice. This is how I afford this truck. It's just an ammo box. Open it up. Still has the seal in there. I might take that out. Makes it hard to open this thing. It's been in here for about 2 years, so it's getting a little weathered, but I inserted the window switch right down here. There we go. And window switch is right there. Because normally that sits in the center console that comes stock with this. Just some cup holders I got off eBay. Cut a couple holes in there. They're perfect size for a beer bottle and not much else. So on the back end here, I got the rear diff that again is stock. I do have a Detroit locker, but I don't think I have all the parts for it. But I would like to get that changed out. And as you can see, maybe you can see the leaf spring back there, that it's not in good shape. So like I said, it holds up pretty well, but it definitely needs a little help. You can see the rear axle, both axles, front and back. Actually, I had redone. The seals were all shot and leaking on both ends, so I had to get that redone, and I didn't have the kind of time to try to tackle that project myself, and I really didn't have the tools either, so I did have to outsource that project. And I need a new exhaust system. The tailpipe broke off, but it would be a good time to replace the catalytic converter, and I need a new spare tire. That might be an original tire, I'm not sure, but it's certainly not roadworthy. Here you can see the lift. Like I said, 7 inches. I didn't do that myself. I bought it this way. Needs new shocks. I really would like to strip the bottom of this thing and coat it. But for now, it's doing okay. There's no rust anywhere on the frame. I do want to point out this shag carpet here. This actually was in the entire truck, front to back, from the pedals to the tailgate. And I stripped it all out down to the metal. I don't know if it came factory or not, but man, it was ugly. So of course this is the bed. As you can see, interior back here is not any better than the interior in the front. It is what it is. This is a trunk I picked up on Craigslist, Army cargo trunk or whatever. I keep tools in here, other essentials. I can lock it if I'm going to leave it out. It's not attached. I've gone back and forth on attaching it because taking it out would be a big pain in the butt if I did attach it. So sometimes it does slide around back here. It's not very convenient. But I keep tools back here. I keep a couple spare parts, not very much. So what I'd like to do back here is cover this up with custom panels and cover the interior with custom panels with storage inside of there as well. I want to put a subwoofer back here, nothing huge, but something that that I can hear. Like I said, I want to blast out this and reline it all with Rhino liner. I've got the topper in the garage, and I usually run it all summer without the topper. I put this bikini top on here. I can't remember what the name of this bikini top is, but it was like $175 compared to a lot of the other ones, which were a lot more expensive, and it's held up quite well. It's been on there for about 2 or 3 years, and of course I only have it out in the summertime, and it doesn't get a lot of sunlight because I keep this thing garaged, but it's done its job quite well, and it does bolt on to where the topper bolts on, so it's a nice firm fit on there. These 4Runners, they don't have a lot of space back here, so if you're going to do overlanding or whatever, you're going to really have to do camping outside the truck, at least if you're more than one person. So I want to rebuild the backs of this to include some drawers in here, something that can slide out pretty easily. The bed needs a little work because it doesn't open all the way, and I think it's because the bumper is bent, but we'll take care of that. My personal way of doing things, I'm not very careful with my stuff. I break things very easily. I don't keep things nice and shiny. That's just who I am. I do like to keep things working, so I will do what I need to do to get it working and running, but it's not going to look polished and sexy to the discriminating eye. Also, like I said, this is not my biggest priority in life, so it's going to take me a while to get this thing rebuilt the way I want it to, but in my mind I've got quite a while to do it because this thing's paid for. It can sit in the garage when I'm not working on it. It's okay that it takes a while. It runs, I can take it out for go four-wheeling, have a good time, and for me that's enough right now. But what I would like to do is get this thing outfitted for being able to go camping with 2 people and be able to go anywhere. Anywhere we want to go, we can go. So that's going to take lockers, it's going to take some armor on the truck, it's going to take a couple mechanical things to make sure everything's nice and tight where it should be. Going to need some kind of a power source back here. Going to need to make sure that this thing doesn't tip over. So it sits kind of high, it's on a 7-inch lift, and it's on 33-inch tires. And so I'm thinking about putting some wheel spacers on there, get it to a place where it's not going to tip over so easily. It's a good truck, and it's a solid truck, and it costs a lot less than the new truck does. But I have a feeling I'm going to put new truck money into this thing by the time I'm quite done with it. So if you have any suggestions or questions, please put them in the comments. Thanks Urban Arm for letting me drop in on your channel again and post something. The last video I did was for the Pepsi Machine gun safe. Go check it out. Come say hi to my dog. Hey, get over here. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Yeah, right. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Sit. Sit. There you go. What do you think? Hey, you're gonna get mud on the seats. Hey, where you going? She's driving now.